Welcome to the first of a series of interviews. Each interviewed individual will provide ideas about how he or she was able to escape the daily bump and grind of corporate life in the cubicle. Many are small business owners, public speakers, authors, and others who share similar ideas as well as not so similar ideas. You'll find their passion and newfound exuberance for life overwhelmingly inspirational and meaningful.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chad Nash, and I'm here with Inner Lion. Today I have some very special guests, one being the Inner Lion, and actually Jules Taggart here from Amp and Pivot, and actually a really close friend of mine, and the kickstart to our interviews related to the Lion in the Cubicle. These are cubicle interviews. What takes you from the cubicle and what takes you away from the cubicle. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Welcome,
Thank you.
Jules. I really appreciate you being the very first person to accept this offer.
It's an honor.
Initially, tell me a little history about when you went to go work for a corporation, what led you there, the path, the journey that led you there.
Well, I moved to San Diego in 2009. My husband was going to law school here, so I left a career that I loved in Kansas City and a job that I really enjoyed, and it was a nonprofit, but it had like a sort of a corporate feel. It was a chamber of commerce. So, and I loved my job. I loved what I did. I had gone back to school to get my master's degree, and got out here and just really had trouble finding work. And so I finally took a job with a large corporation in their marketing department, and it's the kind of work that I'm used to doing. And so I thought I would love it. And I just slowly over time, I was there for 3 years, just started to not only not like it, but to really dislike it. And you know, you and other people in my life said, what do you think about just going out on your own? And I basically told myself that wasn't possible for far too long.
Okay, and why didn't you think that that was possible?
So many things. I guess I had never done it, so just the fear of the unknown. And then also, you know, I had seen other people try it, and then they had to work full-time in their business and full-time at work just to make ends meet. And my husband was in law school, and I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work financially. But I basically just told myself I wasn't able to.
Okay.
For 3 years.
What do you think was the single biggest hurdle? Besides the fear, fear is the word, and it's there, right? Like it's there. So what do you think was the single biggest obstacle? And maybe also the single biggest obstacle that turned out to be not an obstacle.
Well, I started my business in January 2012, and during that time I was still working full time. So I was literally putting in like 90-hour weeks, just trying to get my business off the ground. And I kept telling myself, as soon as it's at a certain level, I'm going to quit my job. Well, that level came and went, which is good, right? Because my business is growing, but I wasn't like comfortable enough to step away from my job, and I really didn't think I could go part-time and that they would allow me to stay my job. And so the biggest hurdle for me was finally making that decision. I'm not ready, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
And I was not ready.
Right. So when you're saying that, you're thinking about like revenue, your own revenue or income in the bank. How is it going to work? How are you going to pay the next rent payment, the next payment? Like
Yes.
Basically those. And so how long before you were trying and saying, here's the next date, to just really leaving?
So my big goal, I started in January 2012, my big goal was to make $10,000 in my business in the first year. Well, I hit that goal by about April, which was great. I was like, wow, I can quit my job now, but I wasn't ready. So between April and August, I went back and forth, and I struggled with it, and then finally in August, I just decided, this is it. I'm making enough money where I can just take the leap, and it was amazing how things grew once I decided to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really exciting. So bring me back to the day you left. So the day you left, you woke up that morning, you knew what was in store. Tell me about that.
So I had been trying to bring in a really big client, And I knew that once I got this client, I'd be able to leave. Well, I didn't have the client yet, but I had had a really great meeting with them. And somehow in my mind, I just said, oh, you know what, I've got him. And I did end up getting the client, thank goodness. But at the time, I didn't know. I went in and they had known that I wasn't super happy. And I just said, you know, I'm leaving. Basically, I'm gonna move on. But the bigger part of that was with my family. My husband.
Great husband. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about that for a second, because I feel like family and other influences like that do make a big impact. And although they want the best for you, that is scary. And it's also like people would rather be safe and see you comfortable sometimes than, you know, they're almost scared for you sometimes. So did family impact at all? I don't know why you even would want to go get a job at a corporation to begin with, right? I mean, it's like
hours, but they worked a lot and they talked about work a lot, and so work was a conversation topic growing up. So when I got out of school, I mean, I did not think about starting my own business then. I just knew I wanted to climb some corporate ladder somewhere.
Okay.
In my life, and the way that my life has completely changed since I decided to go full-time with my business, I would never hesitate to make the same decision again. In fact, I wish I would have made it earlier.
Just as a symphony begins its musical adventure, you too can begin your new life.